Hey, welcome back to the Casual Hour podcast, ostensibly about video games, but mostly about crystal clear Pepsi. I'm Bobby
Gone a
Pease.
different way, but we couldn't have.
Yeah,
Twitch would ban us.
I mean, it's 10:30. There's a hot tub somewhere nearby,
That's
but
true.
Yeah, when are we going to start doing this in a hot tub?
You got rid of the fucking bottle cap that you called a pool we all could have been in.
Shit. Got him. God, that's a joke that only works for the three of us. But
It's good, though.
God damn, it works.
The fan of my joke is Chase Kinnicky, the gamer on the go. Chase, how are you?
I'm great.
And the poolless son of a bitch we let come back every week is Johnny Amazitz. Johnny, how are you?
Did you say poolist or poolless?
Poolless. Yeah. Do you have a pool?
All right.
You are down one pool.
No, I am sans one pool and plus one trampoline.
But you are a fan of Liverpool.
I am.
Gross.
I am the Mighty
Johnny
Reds.
The man who is not cool.
Bobby, I love Liverpool so much
that
I went there on my honeymoon.
Wow, that sounds really romantic for your wife.
It was her idea.
Yeah, whatever she can do to not have to take care of you, I understand.
It's great.
Look, for those of you who are live with us, we want to say thanks for adjusting to our schedule. For those of you who are listening to us, we're kind of back to what we used to do, recording late. Because
it used to be even later. It used to be 11 o'clock.
Preston's here from the UK, so you can find out if that's a Liverpool fan, Johnny.
True.
Hi, Preston.
So yeah, we are late, not as late as we used to be, but we are here to talk to you about video games, and boy howdy, there's a lot of them. We were trying to figure out the last time that we actually got to talk about games, because we've been doing a lot of stuff with E3, we've been doing a lot of stuff with deep dives, and it's just been a bit wild to cover some things. So
I would say it still is. Like there's still a lot of buzz going around of some different news articles and things. There's I follow Mark Brown on YouTube, Game Maker's Toolkit, and they just did a jam recently.
Oh, cool.
There's a ton of games that came out of that. They all seem really cool.
Too many video games.
Yeah. Like I know we did, like Bobby, we have done a bunch of quick looks for the Steam Next Fest. And those quick looks are going to be teased out over the next couple weeks. But I could also see us going into like the GMTK jam, the Game Maker's Toolkit jam.
That'd be awesome.
Playing a handful of those games and taking a look at them and seeing stuff there, because they're all on itch for free. People can play them. That might be another thing. It's just too many fucking games, man.
Too many games, and it doesn't look like it's going to be slowing down anytime soon. We got a new release just coming. Well, we got a few new games coming out on Friday that we've been following here at the show, and then just like 2 weeks from now, we've got even more new games coming out that we've been like super excited for. It's relentless, and I'm over here looking right now at my list of games, and I'm thinking to myself like, you dummy, dummy. When are you going to get a chance to play some of these? And the backlog this year has been a little bit. I've played more games, but in turn, I've also neglected more games. And I'm not feeling great about it. But tonight we're gonna chip away at that a little bit. This is a heavy-ended what you've been playing episode. We got some news stories that we're gonna get into with the casual report back half of the episode, but a lot of crossover too.
Back quarter of the episode tonight.
Yeah,
back quarter of the episode.
It's gonna be the tightest 3 hour and 45-minute podcast you've ever heard.
Here's the good news, though. I think there's gonna be some nice.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, no kidding. I still got to edit some video tonight. There is going to be some nice crossover. I think that there's a few games that we've all been playing, so you should get some good commentary there. And there's a couple games that maybe we've talked about in certain light, but we're going to shed a little bit more light on it from like console quality or even just like a different perspective on it from one of us. So to get us started, we're good and warmed up. We've got our friends here with us. Chase, I'd love to hear from you about what you've been playing.
Sure. I'll start out relatively quick. I've been playing a little bit of Grifflands on the Switch.
What a game!
Grifflands is a game that Bobby and I are both pretty excited about. We've played it on Casual Mondays before. We did a quick look on it. we've only been playing it on PC in that context, but I've been playing the Switch version, and I gotta say, I don't know if it's the best game on the Switch.
Really?
Probably feels a lot better on the PC. There's something about having that cursor, being able to move it over the cards, over enemies, over anything, and just have those tooltips pop up.
Does
and
it have touch controls?
It might, but I've only been playing on the television.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But my problem is, like, even though all those tooltips are still there, you just have to hit buttons to like modify buttons to get to a different kind of menu. Oh, I want to see my cards now. Oh, I want to see the battle menu. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm sure once I get the hang of it will just be second nature. But at this point, it's fuck. Do I hit L1 or L2 to switch to that menu? No, L1 looks at my discard pile. Shit, that's not what I wanted. It's like, oh, this looks at my draw pile. I didn't want that either. It's just a lot of kind of hunting and pecking to find the right setting that I'm looking for, just to see what cards do. And I'm sure not only will I just get a feel for it, I'll probably get a feel for the cards themselves and not have to check what elbow strike does every time I use elbow strike.
Sure.
That one's lame because that one is pretty self-explanatory. But there are other cards that do, like, oh, this gains influence. What does influence do again? I gotta see the tooltip. Fuck. What menu thing do I have to do to find the tooltip on that? But still, like, that game's rad. I love what it's doing from a story perspective. I like the roguelike-y elements. I've only done one run so far, and I had a really good run that I eventually just ran into a buzzsaw that is... I think the game is designed for that, of, like, hey, you know, you're not going to beat this thing in one run because you're eventually just going to get to somebody. I got to somebody who had a bunch of drones, and I could only do so much damage to the drones, and they were just piling up and multiplying their damage each turn.
Who do you play as?
The first character.
Sal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So that was fun. I like Sal. I like the play style there.
Yeah.
And I look forward to playing the other ones as well. But I kind of just did the one run and then jumped into something else. And that something else was Umurangi Generation, which is another PC
You've been
game
talking about
that has
this
now
for a
come to
while.
Switch. Yeah, like this got a huge amount of press in the circles that I care about. You know, your waypoints and your things like that. There were a lot of people who were talking up this game when it first came out a year ago, 2 years ago.
It was last year.
Last year, okay. And I was just really excited for it to come to Switch. It finally did, and I think it's really cool. It suffers similarly to Griftlands in that I'm just trying to kind of figure out what I'm supposed to do. Some of the camera controls didn't immediately catch on to me. There's a mode where you can change the speed of everything when you're looking through your camera from there's like a little turtle icon and a little rabbit icon, and I forgot how to switch between them, and I was stuck on turtle, and I was like, oh god, everything is so slow and terrible. When you're out of the camera view, the jumping, there's a double jump, but the double jump sucks. It just kind of sucks to move around, but also that game doesn't really care too much about moving around. Like you do have a 10-minute time limit or like a soft time limit. If you can beat it within 10 minutes, then you get like an extra bonus. But you don't have to do that, and you could even repeat the level and do all the stuff now that you know where it is and do it within the 10 minutes, and that's fine. But it's kind of like a photo hunt.
Yeah, well,
you're going
what's
through.
The pitch? Like, pitch this game to me for the uninitiated.
Absolutely. You are a photographer in like a really messed up world. You don't really know what's going on. The UN has come in and brought in a bunch of troops. It's kind of an oppressive area that you're in, and you are taking photos. And
is this fictional location?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is fictional.
Chase, I don't know if anyone could possibly relate to.
Well, it's kind of fictional.
That type of setting.
Yeah. No, certainly not. Certainly not. I don't want to spoil one of the things that I know from having heard other people play the game. I have not seen this part myself yet, but I do feel a little bad that I've been kind of spoiled on this, so I don't want to spoil it for other people because I think it could be a cool twist. But you are just kind of taking photos, and there's some mystery stuff going on. You have some friends that are hanging around that just seem like cool hipstery punks, and you're just going into places with a bunch of graffiti, a bunch of troops, a bunch of checkpoints, that kind of stuff, and it feels you're just trying to kind of take photos of some things, but you get a list of things that you're looking for in kind of like a photo scavenger hunt kind of way. So the first level, you're on a pretty small land, like a top of a building, and can only go so many places there. And they'll ask you, take a photo of 2 markers. So there's people who've done some graffiti with some marker stuff, and there are markers kind of everywhere. And there are a couple different places where you can get a photo that has 2 markers in it. Get a photo of a disposable camera. There are a couple disposable cameras tossed around in different places. Then it gets a little bit more interesting. It'll ask you to take a photo of the word mix, M-I-X, and there's a couple of different places you could do that. One of them has, I think it says like the word remix on a wall somewhere. Okay. And if you just tighten in so it just says mix, you got it. There's also a cassette. There's some cassette tapes and some boom boxes around. There's another one where you have to get 2 boom boxes in the same shot, and they aren't really close to each other, so you kind of have to get in the right angle so you can see one in the background. And one of those cassettes says like classic 80s mix or whatever. Ooh, it's like, cool. Hey, that's the word mix too. I could take a photo of that instead of the other one. So that's kind of what you're doing. And then as you go through the game, you'll get different lenses. So you get like telephoto lens or a fisheye lens, and the game will ask you to take photos with those specific lenses.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
I think it's the second level that has you kind of more in this UN troop encampment place, and there are a bunch of solar panels all over the place. And one of the things you need to do is take a photo of 10 solar panels in the same shot. Oh, but wow. You have to use your telephoto lens, and you're again in like a pretty tight quarters. Mm-hmm. So you need to be in a very specific spot, or maybe a few different spots can do it, but you need to still be in specific areas where I think I can just clip in a little bit of that area that has those 2 solar panels that I need to make it the 10. So that stuff's there. There's also a postcard challenge in each level, which is very similar to Breath of the Wild, where hey, awesome. Can you remake this exact shot? Yeah. And I can see where I need to go here, and what angle do I need to do? Do I need to crouch? Do I need to zoom in? How can I get these 2 birds to be kind of on this plane as I'm taking a photo of this stuff at the right angle, and that stuff's kind of interesting. I like a lot of what it's doing. I don't think I'm quite good at it yet. I'm certainly not getting everything in one go, because you need to get all that stuff in 10 minutes, and then you need to also deliver a parcel. So I don't know if maybe you're supposed to be like a delivery person, but are taking photos on the side, or are you a photojournalist who also delivers packages? I'm not 100% sure.
Let me ask you a couple things really quick. So
yeah,
I think this game sounds really fucking cool. I think it has an awesome look to it. I haven't heard anything, but in passing in other circles, I've heard that the soundtrack for this game is really good. Have you enjoyed the music so far in it?
Yeah, definitely. It's not what I normally listen to. I'm not gonna listen to this outside of the game. But in the game context, I really like the music that's there.
And then the other thing I was going to talk about was, and you started to dance around it a little bit, but is this more like if for somebody like I used to do a lot of photography, especially back in college. I took a lot of classes on it, and it's something that my wife has done as well, and like we love photography. I feel like I would be pretty comfortable like talking through like some of the terminology around like different lenses, f-stops, etc. But for somebody who maybe doesn't have a lot of experience with some of the finer details of photography, does it do an okay job of like teaching you about like focal length and things of that nature, like what that would be, or is it expecting you to do stuff with that?
Yes and no. I think it doesn't really require that. In the tutorial, it says, "Hey, we're not grading you on the composition of your photos. Like, we're not here to do that. Art is art. You can make whatever art you want," which is very nice
Cool.
after playing something like Pokemon Snap. It's like, get in the middle of the goddamn frame!
Oh,
and it's like,
God.
whoa, okay, whoa, buddy. I'm just trying to take photos of Pokemon here.
Sure.
As
Well,
big
you're
as
doing
you
it
fucking
wrong.
can!
Yes.
Get it so fucking big!
My
Put all these
God.
goddamn Pokemon in the photo. And this one's like, hey man, you take a photo of what you want. It'd just be nice if 2 boom boxes were in there. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I can do whatever I want. It does have focusing. You can focus. But I think the systems in there are relatively easy to understand, or at least simplistic enough that you can trial and error to get to it eventually. So you can zoom in and go, this it's so out of focus, and it's like, okay, I can adjust my focus, and here's the sweet spot. Okay, I can get this in frame and that out of.
What if Pokemon Snap was like, listen, put on your telephoto lens. I want 10 fucking Snorlaxes in this picture, lined up.
It'd be great.
Put them in there.
Just let me walk around.
Oaks.
Exactly.
Yes.
And this lets you walk around. Like that's nice.
How does it compare to Toem?
I was just going to talk about Toem.
Hell yeah! Which is going live tomorrow.
Cool. That was a fun quick look to do for sure. It's definitely a different thing than Toem. This is a first-person game. It's a much darker tone. Toem is definitely a little bit more whimsical in what it's doing. I like what Toem's doing. I think these games can live, independently of each other, and somebody could buy both and enjoy themselves quite a bit. I think there's room for both.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, but it's fun. I don't think there are a ton of levels in there, and I've done the first 2. Maybe I did the first 3. I can't remember. But that stuff seems cool, and it seems like there's reasons to go back to those original levels once you have more of the camera gear that you earn as you go.
You free roam, do what you want.
I mean, it is free roam. You're always going to have that 10-minute time limit when you start, but you don't have to care about that time limit. And the levels so far that I've been in are very small. So even though it's free roam,
you're still
where you're going to go.
Confined, tight space to work within. To get the photos that they want you to get. Okay,
exactly. But it's cool. I enjoy it. I will definitely finish this at some point. But like we said, there's just so much to play.
Too many games.
Let's see. I've got a couple other ones here. I'm probably the most excited about these next 2. So we played. Johnny didn't get this because he hates video games. He hates Mario.
I mean, I hate the Switch, and I even got it.
That's true. Yeah, I'm amazed.
I will.
But it was
get this eventually.
Sure.
Chase.
Whatever you say.
Yeah, whatever you say.
This
Johnny.
was what's the game called? It's Super Mario 3D World.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Yes. So that I was going to play. Bobby and I did a quick look at that. We did some co-op at one point. That's fun. That's a game I missed on the Wii U, and I kind of want to go back and play it. But the thing that it seemed like everyone was gravitating to, because it was the newest thing, was, there's this Bowser's Fury part in here, and I'm like, well, I don't want to see that because I'm not ready to see that yet. I want to do the 3D world stuff, and then promptly it's like, well, there are other games to play other than 3D world. I might come back, and then I was just never coming back. So finally, I've had the Giant Bomb quick look for Bowser's Fury up on my laptop for
friends of the show, Giant Bomb,
of course.
Yeah.
And Nextlander, because that's these are people who no longer work at Giant Bomb who have done this quick look. That's how long it's been. It's been months. I'm like, all right, I need to actually just see what Bowser's Fury is. So I started Bowser's Fury, and that rules. I think that is super cool.
It's really cool, right?
It's so good.
It's so much fun. I like a lot of what it's doing. I like that it's a 3D, relatively open world Mario. I mean, it gets more open as you play.
Yeah.
It's just nice. I like the way that the powers work in there.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed Mario 64. I never owned that game. I would play it at friends' places, so I'd only get to play very specific levels. I've thrown King Bob-omb off that mountain, God
King
knows how many
Sex
times.
Bob-omb.
Chase, that's so sad because there are so many great levels in that game.
It's true, and I have the Mario 3D All Stars collection. I've got my Nintendo 64 right over here. Happy 25th, Nintendo 64.
Sweet baby.
And I eventually bought a copy of that, so I could play it in multiple ways. I just haven't. But I really, really do like Bowser's Fury. I think there's a lot of really fun gameplay mechanics in there. I like when Bowser shows up and there are specific blocks that only he can break, and you need to get in position to be ready for some of those. I like the way you can kind of game the system. So it's like, I wasn't ready for Bowser here. Let me just pick up one of these shines, and that makes him go away for a bit, and then I can deal with him again when I'm more ready to deal with that. It's fun. It's free. It feels great.
It's one of the fresher things they've done with Mario in a while. And I know there was a lot of talk whenever that game came out or when it was re-released and they tacked that onto it. It was like, hey, could this be the future of Mario? Like, is this what, like, would you want a full version of one of these? And I really like what it's doing. I think it's great.
From what I've seen, I would say yes.
Yeah.
I want them to at least take inspiration from it.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain things, I don't want them to necessarily feel like they are stuck with the cat theme.
Right.
I think the cat suit honestly really breaks a shit ton of Mario, and it breaks Bowser's Fury as well. If you're not in the cat suit, you are kind of at a disadvantage.
Yep.
Like, you are just screwing yourself over because you could pretty much the power-ups come so freely and you can bank them that if you should always just be in the cat suit. Like, you can get the cat suits. It's easy enough to get them. That you should just always be in the cat suit because you can just do the wall climbs. And there's so many things in the game that just require with a wall climb. And it's like, well, these fireballs might be nice, but can't climb up fucking walls, so I guess I'm just going to throw them to the side. Who cares?
Yep.
And so I think they could take a lot of inspiration from what this is doing, take some of the open world elements, and make something more out of that. But I did really like what they were doing. And I had a ton of fun playing that, and I'm going to play more. I think I got to I think I opened up like the rest of the map now. Like, you start in a very small part, and then you unlock like this strip that kind of goes up that's like an archipelago of islands, and then once you get past that, then kind of everything opens up to you. So now I've got that part, and I can kind of do whatever at this point. And I like it. I like that you go to these lighthouses, and once you finish one of those things, then you can come back, and there are now special shines that you can get that are like different challenges. Defeat this group of enemies here, find this hidden one, get the coins, it keeps coming back. It's similar to like a Mario 64 level where you come back to that level, you go back into that painting, and it goes, okay, now here's the one where you have to race the turtle instead of throwing King Bob-omb off the stage. And it just feels so much better than that because I could run out of the level and then run right back into it instead of a loading screen forcing me to get kicked back out, me having to do some other bullshit and then jump back in the painting. I can just kind of go one to the next to the next to the next to the next, and that's great. It's very good.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I really like that game a whole lot. I'm happy that you're enjoying it. Johnny, you're missing out. It's some of the best Mario. Better Johnny thought you would too.
That's true. Better Johnny would buy this game.
Yeah, for sure. Chase, what else you got going on?
If it goes on sale.
It'll never go on sale.
Yeah, it's a Mario game for Nintendo.
It'll be like on GameFly or something. I'll get it.
Stop. Is GameFly alive? Is that have they not died?
It still exists.
Wow. The last thing that I'll talk about, because I've got some other stuff that I played that you guys are going to take the leads on, but we've at least two of us. Johnny, I don't think you've been playing it, but Bobby, you and I have been playing that Final Fantasy VII remake. Intergrade episode, intermission, whatever the fuck.
This is the one with Yuffie on its name. Yeah, Johnny, the self-acclaimed Final Fantasy VII biggest fan of the show, has yet to play the next chapter in this remake.
Yeah. Yep. I'll pick it up soon enough.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of that decision quality later on. But go on, Chase.
So Final Fantasy VII, it ended up being our game of the year last year. I still think Hades was robbed. I still think I'd probably give it to Hades. I will look back and know that I made the right decision. But I also very much enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
And this, I didn't deal with any of the remake stuff. I didn't, upload my upload my save data. So I didn't deal with any of that. I just went right into the Intergrade, and I think it's pretty good.
It's really good. Now,
yeah.
The other thing too is like we've talked. Obviously, the three of us talked about this, but I never played Final Fantasy before the remake, and so
Bobby kind of knows jack shit about what's happening here.
It's astounding how little he knows about this game.
Honestly, like it is. Like as much as I've been in like gaming circles and shit like that, it's nuts to me that I'm in a situation where I still don't know like any of the big spoils.
It's almost as if you've had your head buried in the sand.
I know.
But the only thing it filters out is Final Fantasy VII facts.
So it's true. And I think it's cool to see some of these new characters coming into it. And I'll let you take the lead here, Chase, as you talked about. But man, it just like from a technical standpoint, like that upgrade from playing on the PlayStation 4 to the buttery smooth 60 on the PlayStation 5 is so good.
It's so good.
And it didn't look bad on the PS4.
No,
it was already a looker of a game.
Right.
But there is certainly something about that first cutscene that you get with Yuffie looking at Midgar in her Moogle suit, and just the fidelity of that and the smoothness of the frame rate. There is something like, oh shit, this game looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, it looks really good. What are so like obviously like you've got a little bit more history with this than I do, but how are you enjoying what they've done with Yuffie? Like how do you like how they're integrating or bringing her into this right now? See what I did there?
Good.
Yeah.
So Bobby knows that Yuffie is a party member you would eventually get in Final Fantasy VII in the original. So he knows that much, and we're going to try to keep spoiler stuff away from him.
Thank you.
And the Intergrade will not be a problem with that because this is all kind of new and different stuff. This is like a side story.
Entirely new content.
You would not have met Yuffie at this point in original Final Fantasy VII. So all of the stuff that's happening here is new. And I'm not worried about talking about that. I just want to make sure when I talk about it in somewhat of a context that I'm not giving away anything later. Anyway, I never really played with Yuffie much in Final Fantasy VII. There were other characters I liked better. And I also just kind of found her a little bit annoying. I didn't love her design. I didn't love her utility and skills. She was like a fast, thiefy kind of character, and she didn't really do enough damage, in my opinion, to be like a damage dealer. She didn't do anything to heal, really, so she wasn't a very good support character either. I just never found a spot for her on my team, especially when in that game you can only have 3, right? You only have 3 party members at any one time. And it's like, well, Aerith's going to take 1 because I need healing. Cloud's going to take 1 because he's damage. And then that other one kind of changed a little bit, but more often than not, it was probably like Barrett or something.
Tifa.
Yeah, Tifa's fine. I like Tifa.
Tifa was so much fun.
Tifa's pretty good.
I have nothing against Tifa.
It sounds like you're anti-Tifa.
Okay.
You're Antifa.
Stop it.
Damn it.
No.
I knew where we were going.
Damn it.
I don't like
God
it.
damn it, Johnny.
Son of a bitch. January 6th was an inside job. Anyway.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Anyway, I think that Yuffie is the part I'm liking least so far about Intergrade. She
looks so cute in her little Moogle.
She does look cute. She looks really cute, but she is just a real piece of shit.
I mean, she's a piece of shit in the main game.
But
that's true, and she continues to be a piece of shit.
She is pain in the ass.
Such a badass, and she's very effective at her fighting style in this. Like, I love the way that she plays.
The combat,
that giant
beautiful.
shuriken she has.
Oh, it's so much fun to play with her from a combat perspective.
Absolutely.
To kind of give you an idea, she's super fast. She's like Tifa fast.
Yep.
And she runs up and she does like a bunch of slashes with her big shuriken, and then you can also hold the square button and she kind of jumps off an enemy and gains a bunch of distance, which can be really nice. If you time it right, you can avoid attacks like that and get off a stronger attack. And then her triangle power is to throw the shuriken, and that will deal damage passively. She won't have the shuriken on her, but the shuriken will passively deal damage, kind of like Hades, if you did like the Aegis shield. And then she can perform ninjutsu while that, and she can change the element of the shuriken while it's attacking enemies, and is able to use enemy weaknesses to be able to kind of chain that damage effectively. And I think that ninjutsu can also do like area of effect damage. So even if you are standing next to another enemy that isn't getting the damage from the shuriken, you can continue doing damage to both targets. And it's just really good. They load her up with some early materia as well. She has the Deathly Dodge materia, which is very useful for her. She's got the Steel materia, which I never really liked. I know you can get some really good items by stealing them, but they do load you up with a bunch of stuff. You get fire, lightning, ice, and then you'll get a wind really soon after that. But you get like all the elemental materias right away, because that's what she is. She's a materia hunter. So of course she comes into this game with a bunch of materia already. That just kind of makes sense. She plays really well.
It's not the exact same, but mechanically I get a similar vibe that I got when I played with Impa and Hyrule Warriors, on just like some of the systems that you're like, because you are those orbs that will be going around you when you are throwing out your triangle attack. There's just some multiple layers that you get to manage with her. But as far as being able to get in and out of situations very quickly and effectively, like that, holding down square is such an awesome mechanic, because you can just be doing all kinds of shit, and if they start to crowd in on you, you'll do an attack that propels you backwards, and then to Chase's point, you can throw out your shuriken and start to do some other crazy shit with it there. It's really effective. Her playstyle is probably my favorite so far out of anybody that's been in the remake. I think that she's really effective there. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really well done. I agree.
As soon as this podcast is over, I'm gonna download that.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. I think that
I was never not going to buy it.
Well, yeah, I get that. We talked about it off pod, but like, I wonder how they're going to bring her into whatever's next. If there's going to be a point where the parties all converge to where now you have her as somebody that you can add into it, because I do know that she was an somebody that you could have in your party in the original, but I also know that she was somebody that you could skip and miss the entire game and not have at all.
Also true.
There are a couple characters in the original Final Fantasy VII that you can just miss, and I don't think they're going to allow for that in this. But I do wonder, like, are they actually going to converge the party and let you pick, I want Barrett and Yuffie at this point, or are they going to do what they did in the original, in the
Here we go.
Remake Part 1?
In the first part of the remake, thank you, that'll work, where they kind of just arbitrarily go, oh, by the way, you don't have Tifa now. You can only use Barrett and Aerith. Those are the ones you have to use. And okay, well now Barrett's somewhere else, so now you can use the two girls. And is Cloud always going to be in your party? I imagine Cloud's always going to be the one in your party, and then you have to just figure out the other two. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I like this so far. Neither of us are very far. Where it starts you out in Midgar, you kind of fight your way through to the point where you get to that kind of trash area, and then you come into the slums from there, where it was that kind of gated.
Yep.
And
you go from the trash area to the slums. I see.
Yes, exactly. So now you're in the slums. I think that part is real fun.
I do too.
You get to see a bunch of characters. This is while Cloud and Barrett and Tifa are going and taking care of one of the Mako reactors. So you see a bunch of characters that are kind of worried about them. You see Jessie. She's like, they're not back yet. You see Wedge. You see that Charlie Sheen motherfucker, Biggs. You see Marl, the apartment owner.
Yep.
And
Chadley.
The Chadley's there. Yeah, totally.
Hey, fuck Chadley this time around. Because that mission...
Oh, you know what? He's fine.
He's fine. But that mission he has... Whew, boy, that's a fucking tough one right at the beginning. You need to level up a little bit before you go and do that one.
Oh, that summon?
Yeah, that's a motherfucker of a battle.
Right, I was going to ask when summons can play. Because this is short, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it only like 5 hours?
Yeah.
That's what I hear. Yeah, it's not supposed to be long. I've put a couple hours in, but I also did all of the side stuff that you can do in the slums at this point. The one thing I do want to mention before we jump off is the Fort Condor stuff.
That's really good.
It's kind of like a side game thing that was in Final Fantasy VII as something you could kind of
an
play
actual location you went to. Yeah.
Right. And now it's a board game that everyone plays. Everyone just has
like
these
Gwent.
sets that they can put out.
That's cool.
Kind of like Gwent, like chess, kind of thing like that. It's
there have been a lot of really good mini games inside of Final Fantasy games over the years.
Yeah. Snowboarding and that
That's
kind of stuff.
The snowboarding was dog shit.
Well, agree to disagree.
Triple Triad, though.
But the Fort Condor, I think, is really, really fun the way they've integrated it here. It's it's kind of like an automatic MOBA / tower defense kind of thing.
Yep.
You can put down. Actually, you know what it is? It's Clash of Clans. They made Clash of Clans in Final Fantasy VII.
I've never played Clash of Clans.
Neither have I, but I've seen it played
it
enough. Yeah, definitely don't play Clash of Clans, but that is exactly what it is.
Okay.
You have units. You get the ATB bar at the top, and you have different units that cost different amounts of ATB, and that will fill over time. And you can bring out those units. Units fall into 3 different categories: defense, vanguard, or ranged. And it's a rock paper scissors Pokemon style. A vanguard beats ranged beats defense beats vanguard. And then you get like a bunch of different units. There are units that can fly. There are units that can spit out other units, like barracks that can spit out specific kinds of units. You can get like the big cutters that you'd see in that game in Final Fantasy VII. There's a lot of different stuff, and you have to kind of play all the level 1 people first, and then you unlock the level 2 people, and then you unlock the level 3 people, and then there's a level 4, and I'll let you figure out who the Grandmaster level 4 guy is. But it's a great way of getting you to see a bunch of characters as well. Like everyone's favorite person to hate, Johnny. Not our Johnny, a different Johnny that we hate.
2 Johnnies we get to hate.
The guy with red hair in the slums, Johnny, you remember this guy?
Oh yeah.
Who sucked, who wanted to just get out of town. He's a level 1. In fact, I believe he doesn't mention it, but you can see his Fort Condor set is in like a trash can before he faces you, and that's all right. Jessie's a level 2, so she's like, leave me alone. I'm waiting for my friends to get back. I don't have time for this shit. And Yuffie's like, what, are you scared? She's like, fine, fuck, I'll play you. I don't care. And then you beat her, and she's like, good, you beat me. Go away now. Leave.
Yep.
Wedge is a level 3, and you have to beat him in front of his cats. And then Yuffie makes fun of him and says, like, are you going to cry in front of your cats? And then Wedge does that, and it's like, oh, why'd you make Wedge so sad?
God.
But it's fun. I really did enjoy playing that mode.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And I'd like to see more out of it. It's something that I wouldn't mind playing against other people. I don't think there's any online play for Fort Condor, but that'd be kind of a cool feature, because I think it's a relatively full featured mini game.
Yeah,
and it's got a lot of cool stuff in there.
Awesome.
So, I'm having a good time. I have not met the second character yet, and I think that's where Bobby and I both are.
Yeah.
Once you do all that side stuff in the slums, you can come back to this one house, and you'll find the second character's name starts with S. I can't remember his name. and
I am
then I
right
think
there
it'll
on it.
yeah. So I think stuff will start to pick up, but that's kind of where I am. I'm just having a good time. I'm really glad I picked this up, and again, it just looks so damn good.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
really gorgeous looking game.
So Chase, just
Yeah,
to oh, go ahead, Johnny.
I fired up just to watch that opening cinematic.
Yeah.
The other day, and it's absolutely stunning how good it looks.
Chase, as we wrap up your segment here, you started off with Grifflands on the Switch. You also played Umurangi Generation, that photography game on the Switch. You went back and checked out Bowser's Fury, that new add-on that came with Super Mario 3D World Remake for the Switch. And then we just talked about the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade episode intermission content, which is a real dumb name, but a really good game.
It's befitting a JRPG name as there ever was.
Now, this next thing that I'm going to talk about, I know that all of us have played, so you'll hear a little bit from each one of us on it, but we finally got to take advantage of, well, we've talked a lot about the Steam Next Fest, and if you were on Xbox, I believe it was the Xbox ID that came during the Summer Games Festival, where they had a bunch of demos out, and we've put up one quick look on Tuesday already for a game called Unpacking. We'll have another one going up tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Friday as a podcast, go back to YouTube. We launched yesterday our Toem quick look. But tonight, we're going to start off by talking about a game called Sable that we have all been pretty hot on here at the Casual Hour and wanted to see a lot more of it. This was announced, I think, 2 or 3 years ago at an E3.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Like, super brief little nugget of it. Chase had said when it first came out, it reminded him a lot of what the opening sequences of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, when Rey is out there on her speeder cruising through Jakku, which is what he's currently holding here on stream. And later on, the developers have come out and said that that was a direct inspiration for the game. And Sable is a cel-shaded, hand-drawn, open-world game that I think borrows heavily from the exploration and traversal elements of Breath of the Wild, while bringing in some fetch quests, but the demo is pretty damn short. They give you a little slice of the world, but it's pretty open in that slice.
It's like an hour long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few things that stood out to me, and I'd love to hear from both of you, but I absolutely was just immediately taken by the music of this game. And this game is being scored by an indie artist named Japanese Breakfast. She actually performed one of the title tracks for this at the Summer Game Festival. You should go check that out because it was done so well. But the music in this game is phenomenal, and it really opens the game's exploration up in a new way. And I love the look of the game. I think that the character design is really cool. It seems post-apocalyptic. I think a lot of games are these days, but it's a very strange setting. I can't tell if we're on Earth, if we're on a foreign planet. There's definitely some elements of like mythical, like, I guess, powers that would go into it. It also looks to be heavily reliant on old tech or current tech in a way that maybe Horizon looked at, like future tech in a way that like allowed you to explore further. But you are traversing on one of these speeders, and the demo is you building your own speeder. So you're going to these other spots and getting the parts for it.
Yeah, like your character Sable is about to take their kind of like pilgrimage from their tribe.
Yeah, their Rumspringa. Or
sure. Yeah. Well, like one of the things that happens is you're supposed to get the speeder bike that you use to go on your pilgrimage. You and then you just kind of see the world and I guess come back. Like some people don't come back.
Yeah.
Some people there are, one of your friends you are talking about at the beginning of the game. Like one of your best friends went on their pilgrimage and you just haven't heard from them again. So like maybe that's a character you end up finding as you go. Cool. But as your speeder bike is getting made, or it sounds like the person who was supposed to make it forgot or maybe this is part of the pilgrimage is that you're supposed to find the pieces. He sends you out to go find 3 pieces of your bike so you can assemble one yourself. Very similar to like, I need to assemble my own lightsaber. It has very much the same feel.
It's something like that for sure.
To prepare you for your journey.
going back to the style of the game, one of the uses of color that I thought was really impressive is there is a day and night cycle in the game, and how they use that to change the color subtly over time from even your character to some of the shadows, because there is a pretty mountainous range that you find yourself in at the beginning where your village is at, and going about that, they do a really cool job of just like the overall style of this game. Like, we were all really wanting to play this game. We had a lot of high expectations, and to summarize it, because again, it's an hour demo, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you all like this is the greatest thing, but it solidified itself as one of my most anticipated games this year, and it's exciting to know
definitely.
that it comes out September 23rd, day and date on Game Pass. So if you subscribe to that service on PC, console, and cloud, you'll be able to play it. It'll be on Switch, right?
I don't think they've announced that.
But PlayStation for sure. And
have they announced that?
I thought they did.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was just Xbox and PC.
PS4, Xbox, Mac OS, and PC. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm all in. Like, I walked away from that demo, and we talked about this when we were streaming the other night. Like, it ended in a way that I wanted to just immediately keep going. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, I mean, it's a perfect time to end it, but shit, like, I wanted to fly around on my bike.
Just give me a little taste.
Give me a little taste. So yeah.
From me playing it, I'll say that the playing of the game is my least favorite part. It is still a game that I'm very high on it, but I'm very high on it because of the aesthetics, because of the sound, because of all that kind of stuff. The playing of it is fine. It's you're running around, you're on the kind of shitty loaner bike that you get.
Yep.
And you do a couple of puzzles. They're not difficult. They're just kind of a little bit of grunt work, and the talking's fine. The writing, I think, is pretty decent, but the actual act of just running up to different characters is kind of whatever. I do like you get a power very early in the game that allows you to glide.
Yep.
Kind of get like this orb of power thing around you that lets you glide down, and the glide is incredibly overpowered in that it has some horizontal distance to it. You do not fall very fast, but you zoom, and you are able to get just a crazy amount of distance by using that glide feature, and that stuff's pretty cool. But I didn't play anything here that I went, oh, it's blowing my mind that I'm able to play a game like this. It is, it's just so nice to be in this world. It's so nice to listen to this game. It's so nice to go into a cave and discover these little bugs that fly around. I just like the way they look, the way they sound.
Yeah.
It is like 95% aesthetics for me. And then it's a 5% of that glide's pretty good. Like that's like what I'm dealing with right now. I'm
totally
still
fair.
like I said, I want this game. I still think it could be a definite contender for Game of the Year for me.
Yeah.
But the demo didn't really show me anything that other games haven't done from a gameplay.
It's definitely a tech one. One thing I'll throw out there too, I didn't realize this. So I was a little thrown off when you watch Sable move, because Sable moves at a different frame rate than the rest of the game. But by default, on the demo, at least on PC, the game is at 30 frames. But you can go into your settings and kick it over to 60. And that made a pretty big difference on just like the rest of the world in that game, I thought. I think it looked a lot better at 60. And I don't know if they had it defaulting to 30 based off of the movement that you saw Sable have, where it almost had like that. God damn it!
Like animation, a little bit.
Yeah, it, the suit that you could get if you got the Spider-Verse suit in Miles Morales, it definitely like
moves at 24 frames a second or whatever.
Yeah, it was much lower than the rest of the game, so it looked very different. But I liked it. It didn't throw me off. It was just like, oh, what's going on here? This is a little different. So
Sable's moving at the Hobbit, and the game is playing at Lord of the Rings.
There it is. We landed the plane.
Yes.
So that's Sable. Anything else we need to cover on the Sable demo? No?
I think so.
Cool. I'm glad it's coming to PS4. I'm surprised it was coming to PlayStation, because it got shown. It didn't just get shown at Xbox. It got shown at the ID at Xbox, however many years ago. And even that was a small clip, but I thought that was just going to be an Xbox property. So really cool that I'll be able to play this on a good controller.
Nice. So I'll briefly talk about a new Apple Arcade game that I'm checking out. You've all played Kingdom's Rush. That tower defense game has a really cool style to it. They have
the best tower defense game I've ever played.
Damn. Okay, I didn't know you were that.
Yes. Yes.
The second one specifically, but all of them are quite good.
Yes.
Frontiers.
So, would you be into more of that world if it wasn't a tower defense game, Chase?
No.
Okay. Well, then you just go get a drink.
That's kind of a hard no. It's tough because that game series has always been about just referencing other shit.
Sure.
In Frontiers, you can play your barracks can get either assassins or Templars, and your assassins just will spam Resquiet Senpache. It's like, oh, get fucked. Like, we get it. Yeah. We fucking get it. We know. Like, it's all just references to other shit. No deep and it's fine. With these games. Fine when it's a tower defense game of just like, oh yeah, it's fun. I'm just making the units because the gameplay rocks so hard. But if they want to start making more lore-based stuff around this, I'm like.
So I don't really think it's lore-based. Let me tell you a little bit about what this is. So this is a roguelike, and this is a squad-based game, turn-based game. And you are there's a lot of RPG elements to it as well. So you are upgrading all your characters. You're getting a currency in the game that you can choose on who to upgrade. The way I'm seeing it so far, there's like 3 or 4 rows of characters that you can pick for your squad. You can only have 3 when you leave, but you can pick up a 4th while you're out and about. So the top row is like these gold framed characters, and I think that they have actual story beats, and they're your main character. You can have one of them equipped, and they'll have different unique styles. The first one you start out with is kind of a big brute, but then the other 2 character slots are more of a gray tier, and you can just swap them out on the fly. So if you pick up a new character, you can swap them out for one of the secondary or third characters, but whoever you start a run with, as far as a main character, you have to finish that run with. There's all kinds of really crazy things, from range attacks to magic. It is a bit more fantasy based than I guess, like, you know, the other Kingdom Rush game has some fantasy elements to it, but this one definitely is.
The first one, like the second one, maybe gets a little further away from that, but they're all kind of in the fantasy realm.
I really like the mechanics of this. So there's multiple paths to choose, and you'll even encounter merchants. You'll go to certain towns. You'll have these dice roll events that happen between points of interest. The game plays really well. I've played it primarily with touch. I haven't used my controller on the game. I like it on my iPad quite a bit. It's doing it for me. Like I did play a lot of the early Kingdom Rush games, and I thought that they were well done. I didn't realize when I downloaded this one on Apple Arcade that it was such a drastic departure from the formula, and I'm having a ton of fun with it. Like, honestly, Fantasia I put a lot of time into. Clap Hands has been my favorite Apple Arcade game this year, one of my overall favorite Apple Arcade games, but this one is really, really well done. Don Pappas, baby. So that's Legends of Kingdom Rush, available exclusively on Apple Arcade. I don't know if it's coming to console. But it is,
and I have downloaded this. Like, okay. I've got it because until I beat Fantasian, I'm gonna keep on having a subscription to Apple Arcade.
Sure.
And man, I haven't put any time into Fantasian for like 2 months. So
Tim Cook is getting
probably gonna
getting fat off of the profits from Chase Kinnicky.
Yeah, I guess so.
To keep us moving,
I'll play it.
Yeah, I think you would like it. I think it's worth at least checking out if you have that service. Let me continue kind of the turn-based tactics genre talk here, and tell you all about a game that Chase turned us on to called Dark Deity. And this might as well be, and I shouldn't even be the one talking about it. Like, I already feel fucking weird talking about this game tonight.
Bobby,
it does feel a little weird.
Have we entered Bizarro World?
Oh, we've been in Bizarro World for a while.
Yeah,
at this point.
it's.
I mean,
I'm a changed man, Johnny.
I see waifu looking ladies. I see tiles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is
what's going on, Bobby?
Chase basically pitched this as like, hey, you should check this out. It's getting a lot of buzz. It's on PC only, and it's Fire Emblem. I'm like, oh,
for
cool.
now, it is confirmed for consoles, including the Switch.
Awesome. I downloaded it. It's $20 right now on Steam, and there's a lot of video game there for $20. I don't think it's early access. I think this is just a release on PC.
That's true, and it's 25. It's $24.99.
Sorry, $24.99.
Well, I think it was on sale. I think it had it was on sale when it debuted. So Bobby probably got it for $20.
You can get the deluxe edition for $35. It's 10% off right now.
I'm gonna say it probably should have been in early access.
Yeah,
we'll get to that point.
So
they made a Fire Emblem.
They made a Fire Emblem game that I think plays pretty well. Now, Chase, you are the Fire Emblem aficionado here at the Casual Hour. I have played a couple different ones. Shadows of Valencia, I've played Awakening, and I lost myself deeply in Three Houses. I adore that game. And I can tell you that the time playing these games, I spent more time focusing on character development, not necessarily story beats, but like upgrading my characters and my units and the actual playing. Like the story stuff never quite gripped me. Three Houses did because of the whole like three story arcs there. But this one, the story's been fine. I mean, it's basically competing dynasties and all that bullshit. You start off and you're in an academy. The kings basically pull you immediately out of the academy and say, hey, we're going to war. You're coming with me. But a lot of the stuff that you would expect from a Fire Emblem game as far as combat goes is present here. And if I had to, it's more of like the Awakening and Shadows of Valencia than it is Three Houses as far as the look of it. I think it feels a little bit more like it looks more like the 3DS sprites than it did some of the elements of Three Houses on the Switch. But I find the combat to be really cool. One of the things that I don't recall on Fire Emblem having this fluidity to it, but every unit that you have, you can, like, I have like 4 or 5 weapons equipped on one person. And that's really fucking cool. I don't know, was that on Fire Emblem that easily?
So no, that is one of the kind of unique things about this game. All your characters have 4 weapons, and those weapons kind of correspond to different archetypes. Of here is the one that does extra damage.
Yeah.
But it has a drawback that maybe it doesn't have as much hit chance.
Accuracy's down.
This is the one that crits more often, but it doesn't do as much normal damage.
Yeah.
This is the one that is more balanced, kind of normal, whatever. I forgot what the 4th one is. It's it's like a more accurate one. If you want one that's definitely going to hit, you can use that 4th one. And those weapons don't run out of uses. So
right.
Something like Fire Emblem Three Houses, your weapons had durability, which is a mechanic I've always hated.
It's the worst mechanic in a video game.
So it is nice that this game doesn't.
Is the correct answer for that, by the way.
They're both pretty bad.
They're both bad.
Well, we might have to deep dive and figure out which one's the worst. But so yeah, you have unlimited uses for all these weapons, but then in Dark Deity, you can upgrade these different weapons with tokens.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can kind of choose which path you want for some of these weapons. And you can upgrade multiple weapons if you want. But like, hey, with this archer, maybe I just want this archer to do more damage. So I'm going to dump my tokens into the bow that does more of the damage. And then if you upgrade it enough times, it'll become an upgraded weapon and have a new name and maybe even like a new visual style. I'm not sure about that, but there is kind of a more customization thing you can do with the weapons, but you are always locked to 4 weapons for each character.
Yeah. And I think that they all play really well. You can just use so I'm playing this with mouse and keyboard. So when you initiate the battle, you can just use your arrow keys to toggle through your weapons, and it's giving you a real-time readout of the predicted outcome of that battle. And I think that that's really neat. A lot of the things that I'm seeing also from bonding, and I don't think that was a huge thing in Three Houses. I don't recall bonding with people like you did in the other Fire Emblem games.
There's a ton of supports in Three Houses.
I know that there's supports, but like I don't recall, if these people were next to each other on the battlefield, like those things carrying over like they did in the other Fire Emblem games, where like you're going to be building that. Like all this was done, and from what I recall here, in between classes, during classes, you're dumping stuff in to like increase their strengths or their things. But like the proximity to people on the battlefield was something that I recall you talking about at length from prior Fire Emblem games. I don't recall that happening too much in Three Houses, and maybe it's just been too long since I played it.
It is in Three Houses, but I don't think they say it explicitly as much. But there are definitely certain skills that characters have.
Yes,
and then also like if you get A rank support with somebody when you are next to them, you both get bonus stats.
One of the things that's also here, they use the triangle system or the rock, paper, scissors in Fire Emblem. This is more or less, from what I can figure out, just you are going to be at a disadvantage or you're going to have an advantage over this character type, shown on screen by a red arrow down or a green arrow up, letting you know these are the enemies that you can do more damage on or a higher probability of that. And that's kind of a cool thing, like as I'm starting to look at the map, like, okay, I've got this character selected. I know that these people over here are going to be hurting me more. I'm going to try and focus on either buffing up or doing that. And I think that that's pretty cool too.
That's the part that people have been a little mixed on. So it's not a weapon triangle exactly in the way that Fire Emblem works, but it's different kinds of damage. So there's slashing damage versus piercing damage. Different weapons can do different types of things. I think even like in your 4 different weapons that you get, some of those have different versions of the kinds of damage that they do. So even if you have a weapon that has slashing damage, so it would be weak against this kind of armor, well, you can switch to this other kind of weapon that has piercing damage, which does better to it. The problem that I've heard people mention, and it's probably not an issue for somebody like you, Bobby, or even me if I played this, it's super hardcore people are not able to calculate what's going to happen. There is a bit, you have to play this game a little bit more on feel, because there are so many bonuses, buffs and debuffs that are happening at any one time, and it's just stuff you can't count, and it's percentages too. It's like, oh, I've got this buff that lets me do 5% more damage with slashing damage, but they've got an armor piece on that does like, negative 20% of something else. And it just gets to the point of like, I don't know, I feel like this might do more damage, and it probably does, but you're not going to be able to call out, okay, this is my attack stat, this is their defense stat, let me calculate. Okay, I take the difference of those numbers and I know, okay, this attack's going to do 3 damage. And in this game, it feels like there are so many things piling up that you're going to go, this might do around 3 damage. And you kind of just had to guess. And I'm I've been playing Super Robot Wars X on my YouTube channel, and that series has had a very similar issue with that. Of there are so many options in terms of, well, this Gundam has a shield that can pop up occasionally based on like a skill roll, and that shield can take off 1,500 damage. I also have this skill that reduces beam range damage by 5%. I've got this armor that does something. I've got a size. My unit is a small Gundam, so it takes bigger damage from something that's a size up from it. Like, there's so many things in there that eventually you go, I don't fucking know, but you start to get an idea, and that's actually been one of the fun things. I'm sorry, we'll get back to Dark Deity here in a second, but that's been one of the fun things about playing Super Robot Wars X on the not stream, but doing the recordings of it. Is I'm doing an attack, and I just say, I feel like this is probably going to do like 7,500 damage. And then it comes, and then I said, this actually happened on one that I just recorded. I was like, I think it's going to do 7,500 unless it crits. And it got the crit, and it was 7,900. So I was like, you know what? Probably would have been about 7,500 if it hadn't crit.
He's a man
Because even the
of his
crits,
word.
like the way you do. But I didn't know. I had a guess.
Sure.
On like, oh, kind of the damage I know this unit can more or less do. The defense of that enemy is somewhere around here. Let's just throw out a guess and see if it's close. And then, hey, I was close. And other times, like, I was way off. I had no idea that it had this barrier that halved the damage and then also did like another 30% less or whatever. Like that, it's just ridiculous, and it sounds like Dark Deity has a lot of the same problems. But again, that is for a much higher level play than what you and I would probably play with. We're just going to put, I should put the tanky unit up front because it's going to take less damage, right? And usually that ends up more or less working.
Absolutely. So there's a lot here that I unpacked when I first started playing it. And again, the story's whatever, and it is going to be a little bit heavy on the story stuff when you're kicking it off. But if you've not had a chance to play a Fire Emblem game, or if you're looking for Nintendo just had their event. They didn't mention Fire Emblem once. Maybe this is something that will scratch that itch for you in 2021 to carry you over until some more news comes out. I'm really digging it. I think there's a ton of video game here for the value that you're getting. And if you're into strategy and some turn-based stuff, like there's a lot of enjoyment to be had here. It's really cool.
Yeah. Two more things I would say before we move on. One of them is a point in its favor. It's got a really cool class system. The units can, I believe, promote at level 10, and you can choose from 4 different units for like a intermediate class, and then each of those can split off into, I believe, 2 different kinds of units, and so you get a lot of different, a very customizable army, and I think it gives a lot of replay value. That now I want to play with this character and I want to put him in this class. And even the game, I think, has a randomized feature as something you can just turn on, so you can even play with some randomness that you wouldn't get on a normal campaign playthrough. And I think that's really cool. The bad part, and it's the part Bobby hasn't gotten to yet, is I have heard that the later maps are real boring. Like I've seen some screenshots that it's just like, here's a few rocks scattered around, like they were playing a Super Robot Wars X map. Am I right? You guys know what I'm talking about. But no, they seem like some pretty bad maps that are just big open fields near the end of that game, which is always a disappointing thing. Like you
think that's where you want your best maps.
Right. But that's why I kind of said that it probably should have been in early access, because those last maps just need a little bit of polish. There's some screenshots that don't look all that great.
Johnny, I think for the money, it's pretty damn good. I think also, I know that you got a lot going on. Yeah, it's fucking it's Fire Emblem. It is 100% like playing like a Fire Emblem game. Not 100%, but it's.
I mean, it's got its advantages and drawbacks. It is made by a Western group. I think this is their first game. It was kickstarted. They've obviously, it's obviously a love letter to Fire Emblem in a lot of different ways, and has a lot of interesting ideas with the way it does some mechanics. And in other ways, it kind of drops the ball, because Nintendo's been making these, Intelligent Systems has been making these kinds of games for a very long time, and they've learned a lot over the course of making those games. So just like some presentation stuff, like when you do an attack in Dark Deity, it just snaps back to the field of play in a really jarring, jerky way. Some of that smoothness that you get of Intelligent Systems going, this is how you make a video game feel good, and that game Dark Deity doesn't necessarily have that, but it has advantages in other places.
Absolutely. Speaking of small Kickstarter games, Johnny, what have you been playing? Because there's a game that we've been checking out, but take it away.
Yeah. So I don't know if Chase got this game yet or not.
He did not.
Okay. So Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart, came out. Was it last week?
No,
or 2 weeks ago?
It's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Okay.
I think.
This is my first Ratchet and Clank game that I put any significant amount of time into. So
Okay.
I'm coming into it with basically fresh eyes. Like I have no familiarity or attachment to either one of those characters. It was just I somehow missed all of those games. And I know like back in the day it was like, hey, you're either Team Ratchet or Team Jack and Daxter. I didn't play Jack and Daxter either. So really this is all new to me. But I did know
Sly Cooper forever.
exactly. Now, how can we forget Sly Cooper?
Always in our hearts.
But I knew that the games had silly titles and they were all about the guns, and this game has some pretty fucking cool guns.
Yeah.
I don't know how far you are in the game, Bobby. It tells me I'm about 50%. It's been like slow kind of burn for me because I know it's not a super long game. I think it's only like 10 or 15 hours.
Yeah.
But
You're further along than I am.
okay. It is maybe the best looking game I've played on the PS5 so far.
I don't think there's a maybe about it.
Yeah, like Demon Souls blew me away.
Like, what could compete with it?
I mean, Demon Souls looked really good. It's serious eye candy, but this is just next. Like, takes it and
I mean, Demon Souls is
with
just Dark Souls, but what looks better than Dark Souls? Am I right?
nothing.
I mean, it's just bigger Dark Souls, so I mean that's bigger Dark Souls.
Anyway, so yeah, this is
Astro. I mean, Astro looked really good.
Astro does look really good.
And Returnal, right? Like Returnal.
Returnal looks very good as well.
I
But
think
this is like
Pixar.
And I was just about to say the comparison's been made over and over since this game came out. Is just like the transition from cutscene to you taking control of Ratchet or Rivet is seamless. And
but now those comparisons feel fair.
Yeah.
Like whereas like when somebody was saying the first Crash Bandicoot, oh shit, they made Pixar. Like
yeah,
fuck.
It's like Toy Story.
Get out of here. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean,
now it's like, I can see it.
The fur on their face like is brushed in different directions, or if you're somewhere where it's been raining, like they look like they've got wet fur. And the way it's able to snap back and forth between the different rifts that open up and take you to either like a pocket dimension or just as a quick way to get across the map. Like it's incredible. Like
the load times are like non-existent.
Yeah, it's insane. Which has been like one of the coolest things about being able to play games on one of these new systems is just how fucking snappy everything is when it loads in, loads out.
Johnny, can I ask you this? Because I think it's a really great game. I mean, it's very good. What's your question? Do you find it to be like it's almost so good at what it sets out to do that it doesn't feel so I played the 2016 remake of like the first one that came out on PlayStation 4. I checked that out and it looked really great too. But the games feel like popcorn, like they're very simple.
Absolutely. That's actually a point I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
This is an incredibly well-crafted game. Insomniac should be applauded for how well put together it is, and also the fact that apparently there was zero crunch involved in the production of this game, and to put out something like this high quality that's a really fun game, they should be commended for it. But it's been something like I will beat this game because it's short, it's like 15 hours. But it's not like at the end of my day when I'm done working, I'm like, I gotta play Ratchet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm enjoying myself while I'm engaging with it. I think that all the weapons I've unlocked are a ton of fun, and I do like how they encourage you to try out all those different weapons that you have in your inventory. I really appreciate how easy it is to upgrade the weapons that you find yourself using the most. So they have this upgrade system where it's like a little grid, like almost like sieve tiles, like they're hexagons or whatever, and you drop these raritanium, which is a currency that you find out in the world, to get more ammo or increases your damage or whatever. And then if you fill in all those around a particular section, then it gives you some big upgrade for the weapon. So it lets you pick and choose, what you want to put your resources into and upgrade and have be improved. I think my favorite so far is probably one of the first weapons you get, which is the Pixelator.
It's so good.
It's so good. It looks, if you spin the camera around, it's like an old CRT on the front, and you shoot it and it pixelizes whatever enemy you hit with it. And if they die when they get hit with it, then they just stay that way, and you can hit them with your hammer or your wrench, and it just kind of crumbles in the pixels. It's really neat.
This is not going to be a fair statement. I'll admit that right now, because the game, we've talked about how good it looks. It loads mechanically. It is one of the most impressive games I've played mechanically.
Incredibly sound.
Yeah,
like the grinding is fun. The shooting is fun.
I feel like I'm playing a PS2 era game, as far as like what the game style is.
Is that a bad thing though?
Like, I don't know. No. But like, it's not a bad thing for me. Like, it's not a bad thing at all.
It's not doing anything different than what other Ratchet and Clank games have done.
I don't think about this game when I'm not playing it. And what I mean by that is, I just feel like I've done this before. Like, it's such a like it feels very familiar, but yet at the same time it's like almost like, well, is this a remaster of something? Is this a remake of something? Like, it feels like that to me, where I think it looks incredible, it loads incredible, it handles very well, but I'm like, I know what I'm getting. I know what this is. Yeah,
and I would still encourage anyone that is lucky enough to have a PS5 in their possession to buy this game. It is 100% worth playing.
Yes, absolutely.
You will have a good time while you're doing it. It's just not. It's not going to be. It's. I don't feel the way about this game as I have about like Breath of the Wild, like other established franchises that put a new game out that feels very different than what's come before. Or like, I've played a shit ton of 3D character platformers, and this is a very good one of those. Like, I think it's deserving of the praise that it's received for certain, but it's not going to be like in my top 10 games of all time, and that's totally fine. Like, there are really good video games that don't enter that upper echelon of things that I've put time into. Like, I really, really like this game. Jude is playing it, my son. He's into it. He has this terrible habit of any game that isn't Minecraft of like, I will explain, it's like, hey bud, Windows will pop up on the screen telling you exactly what you need to do. And I'll be like, last night I was downstairs reading a book, and I hear, Dad, I'm stuck. And it's because he didn't read the goddamn tutorial that popped up on the screen that told him, like, hey, this is how you get out of the situation. That's a separate frustration. So yeah, it's really good. I'm having a great time with it. Chase, I think you should definitely play this game at some point. I don't know if you picked it up this year or not.
Part of me is like, I don't have time. I have so many other games going on. But to your point of it being, something, it's mechanically sound, but maybe mechanically a little shallow from what you're saying.
Yeah,
it's still a lot of fun. Like,
but like that actually appeals to me.
Yeah, the guns are great.
Like, I've got enough games right now that are really complicated. I don't go back to Breath of the Wild because I think, God, it's going to take me at least 20 minutes to just remember what all the fucking buttons do.
Yeah, this you can just pick up. You know exactly what you need to do.
Totally. Like, I'm thinking, like, oh, you know what? I really do need to go back. I need to play Wasteland 3. You guys talked about Wasteland 3 last year. I think I would really dig that game. That's totally something I want to play. But there's going to be a lot of setup. It's going to be a lot of this.
All the systems.
Read a bunch of shit and learn a bunch of shit. Even playing Final Fantasy VII Remake tonight, I was like, I kind of remember how this game plays. But then it got to like, hey, we're going to give you the Fort Condor tutorial. Like, I don't want to fucking learn how to play a mini game. This looks complicated. And then it ended up being fine. But there was part of me that's just like,
I don't want to get into this.
I could just load up Destiny right now. I know
Yeah.
how Destiny plays. Destiny is that popcorn for me of like left trigger, right trigger, man. I know what to do. And there's a part that was like Ratchet and Clank. It's like that'd be easy. That is no problem to just jump in here. Like what are you going to tell me in the tooltip to hit R? Like, great, I can do that. X jumps, sweet.
Hey, hold L2 and hit square to throw your wrench.
Perfect. I can handle that. But it is when I am thinking about like, you bought Near Replicant. Are you going to get into that? Like, this, like that game might not be mechanically crazy, but it is like
it's crazy,
story dense to the point of like I don't have time to get into the Near lore right now.
Yeah, like
there's something just like Ratchet would be such a nice shallow experience that I could just pop in and enjoy and have a good time with. And maybe that shows up in the top 10 at the end of the year. Maybe it doesn't. Kind of who cares at this point, because like work has been super busy right now. So do I want to continue to like challenge my brain when I'm off work, or do I just want to play something easy? And right now, the easier the better. And Ratchet sounds real.
That's why you're friends with me. I'll say this, like, I don't want my comment to come across as crass or demeaning of it. It really isn't meant to be that way. I'm having a really good time when I'm playing the game. It's just not something that like makes me think into that. Probably is exactly what you're talking about. Like, it's a very brainless thing for me to just get in there and experience it, and that's fine. I think that's been good for me, just considering how chaotic the rest of my life is right now, with just work and like new puppy and stuff like that. Getting out of the pandemic and back into pandemic mode or whatever we're gonna end up doing. Like, it's nice to have something like this to come to.
I see this being a very strong like number 10 on my list.
Yeah, I think if it's on my list, bottom five, like, or bottom
between
like
bottom the bottom half
for sure.
Yeah,
it could be at the top of some categories, but overall list.
Oh yeah,
pretty low.
Bobby, you mentioned the word chaos.
Oh God.
And that brings me to the next game I've been playing a lot of and actually thinking about actively all the time, and that is Chivalry 2.
No, it's the bad one.
The statement applies to both games I'm going to talk about.
It does.
So Chivalry 2, if you're not familiar, is a either 40 or 64 player medieval combat game. The first game came out in 2013 or 14, and I learned it actually was it a Counter-Strike mod? Like it wasn't its own thing to begin with. Like friend of the show, Danny O'Dwyer, talked about it on an episode of the Bombcast. I had no clue, but I thought that was really cool. Like it's crazy how like PUBG and like all these other like gigantic IPs now originated from like, oh, it's just a mod that someone made and it blew up into this big thing. So it's not a serious game. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I love it so much, is because it is completely over the top and ridiculous. It has several different modes. It has deathmatch. It has objective-based modes where you're pushing like a catapult or something down a road, and then there's barricades. You have to break the barricades, and then you set up the equipment, and then you knock down the gate. And then once you're inside of the village, you get into the castle, and once you're in the castle, you kill the Duke or whoever inside there. So there's like layers to it, and it's not like super important. Like those things just kind of seem to happen on their own. You should try and play the objective, and you get points for doing so. But if you just want to run around and murder people with medieval weapons.
When you have 40 or 64 player counts, like at some point you got to embrace just how ridiculous it can be.
Oh yeah,
that's like the Battlefield problem. Is like there's now the battles are so big that even if I went on some crazy streak, there's 39 other players that are taking it out of my hands.
Yeah, it does have different classes that you can play as. I've been sticking with the Vanguard class primarily. I found some weapons that I really, really like, but there's Archer, which
Johnny,
if you play as
you
Archer.
two keep talking about it. I'll be right back.
Okay.
He doesn't want to talk about this game.
There's the Archer class, which if you play as an Archer, you can go fuck yourself because that's just, oh god, it's nothing worse than getting picked
All right.
off by an Archer from across the map. Footman, Vanguard, which I mentioned, and Knight, and each one of those has like a starting class and then subclasses that you unlock as you level up that particular like main class. So what
Johnny, I feel
yeah.
the need. I know I've already asked you this question, but just for the viewers here,
Yeah.
This is not the shitty racist one, right?
That's Mordhau.
Okay.
I've seen some shit. There is chat in the game. There's team chat and then just general chat for the thing. I've seen some homophobic comments, but it was like in one game. And also, I've been playing online multiplayer games long enough that that's just par for the course. So
I think Mordhau was special. I think the developers even were courting some of that.
Yeah, there's some definite white supremacist vibes that game gave off. It was also much more of a sim, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is just, it's very goofy. Like, one of my favorite things that's happened in this game to me so far. So there's different things on the map that you can pick up and throw. Like throwing, you can throw your weapons. You can pick up big rocks, or in my case, I picked up some horse manure and I threw it at somebody, and their health was low enough that it actually killed them. And that was just that's gonna be one of my moments of the year.
Don't kiss your fingers after you throw the horse manure, Johnny. It's very.
Chase, do you want to ask me what my take on Chivalry?
I did. I was gonna say, and now to Bobby P's for the dissenting opinion. Bobby, you did download this, correct? You purchased this game?
Yeah,
that was a quick
Johnny
purchase and return process.
Bobby gave it the old Johnny Amazich special.
Yeah, I said, you know what? This is going to be the second Returnal. So I had been, I wouldn't say harassed, but encouraged by Johnny to check this game out. And I'm not huge on PvP anymore. I used to be a lot more into it than I am now. He's like, was there a story to it? He's like, no, it's just a big battle. And I kept seeing people talk about the game. My cousin picked it up. He's like, yo, you got to get it.
Hearing a lot of talk. That's definitely true.
And I'm like, you know, all right, fine. I'll check it out. I had a coupon, whatever you want to call it, on Epic, and it brought it down quite a bit. And I installed it. I'm like, all right, see what's going on here. And then it's like, okay, we're going to take you through a tutorial. I'm like, cool, I need that because this is a lot. And I'm like, all right, maybe it's just a tutorial. This game feels weird. I kept going, and boy, that game feels like dog shit. It plays awful. That game.
Oh, fuck you. It feels totally fine.
No, it does not. You know what? If the Warthog had a fucking broadsword, that's what it would be. And it is the most unforgiving piece of shit handling sim wannabe I've played.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about,
you pull the trigger, you swing you pull it right trigger for broad swing, right bumper to do a poke, left bumper to do an overhead strike, and then Y to do like a running attack. It's not that complicated. And it feels totally fine. It feels great. Like to swing your axe and lob a dude's arm or head off. Oh, it's so good.
I don't know what kind of fantasies you're trying to live out over there, Johnny, but this shit ain't for me. And
that's fine, but don't say that it feels bad. It feels bad to you, maybe, but I think like
this game feels bad, and you should feel bad.
It's great. It's one of my favorite games I played this year.
I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just.
I
love the tutorial. The guy, it was so ridiculous.
All right,
you need to swing your sword and use the left stick. Like it's just, it's so over the top and ridiculous.
You know what I swung my sword towards? The helpful link on Epic on how to get a refund. And
did you get your coupon back when you refunded it?
It was the last day for it.
You got another coupon.
But you know what though? Yeah. That playtime was pretty impressive to see on that refund request. We see that you played this for 7 minutes and 36 seconds.
Oh, that was not nearly enough time.
What else do I need to do to know that this game played like shit?
I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly.
I've played enough video games. These meaty paws weren't having it, Johnny. That game sucks.
That Dane axe, that great hammer I unlocked that just whoom.
I've already updated my game of the year list, my note. I've already got some talking points ready to go.
Well, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
Hey, guess what? You're not the only person that can throw shit. I threw that shit out the window where it belongs. So get this piece of shit out of here. Take that back.
Some men will always remain uncultured. And it's fine.
Says the guy
Johnny,
with a morning star.
Johnny, speaking of cultured gamers, why don't you talk about the last game on your list?
Oh, I'm in love with this game.
Yeah?
And I don't care who knows it.
I gotta say, I'm surprised that you didn't return this one. Like, not that. Let's talk about it. Well, I'll qualify that statement once you talk about it.
So I once every couple years get an itch to play a fighting game. So I really enjoyed Dragon Ball FighterZ. I played and I really enjoyed Mortal Kombat 11. Those came out within a year of each other. I have seen and heard people talk about these Guilty Gear games and how good they look, and they do look fucking amazing. And I've been talking to you like offhandedly. I was like, "Hey, I can get this game for like $30 on Steam."
Yes, I guess my opinion on this didn't really matter, did it?
Oh,
I knew what your opinion was.
He knows what you have to say.
I was like, no, okay. So then I got a gift card for my birthday over this weekend from my sister, and I was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go for it. And I am not a fighting game aficionado. I'm not good at fighting games. I really appreciate them when they are played well. I think that there's actually, I just watched a video about the Evo 2004 Moment 37 tonight. A little 6-minute doc.
I think that's correct. Yes.
And it's so amazing to me to see people who play these games really well. So Guilty Gear Strive is the newest one that just came out. And for those of you who don't know, Guilty Gear is an anime 2D fighting game series that's been around for, I think, 21 years. And so this is my second Arc System.
You should probably just leave again. Johnny and I will handle it from here.
So
was this just like on your birthday, like fucking Bilbo Baggins? Your sister literally hands you this gift card, and you're like, you know what? Why shouldn't I spend it? Why shouldn't I have nice things?
He has been. I have the receipts to back it up. Johnny has been talking about this game to me for weeks. So it's been in his mind.
Let me just say this before I fucking explode over here, and I'll let you get back to talking about this. As I mentioned earlier in the show, and I said I would get to it.
Yep.
Mr. Final Fantasy VII himself.
Yeah.
And I got the receipts to back this one up, Chase. Well, I got a birthday, I got gift cards coming. I'll pick it up. And then Chase sends me a message. Johnny got Guilty Gear. And I immediately got pissed off. I got angry.
Why do you care?
Because you're over there playing this game for a week. You're gonna play it for a week, and you're gonna still go back and you were talking about, oh my god, they're gonna charge $20 for more Final Fantasy. Take my money for.
I thought I owned it already because I had the deluxe version of the game. That was the confusion. I wasn't mad. Anyway.
Anyway, so Johnny still has yet to pick up Final Fantasy VII, but he's playing Guilty Gear and fucking Chivalry. I'm all for playing new games. I'm all for it. This whole year has been new games. But man, this is like me saying, you know what? I think I'm going to finally check out that Gundam series instead of getting the next Zelda game. I'm good. I'm going to check this out.
Really not. Like if this was Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, then obviously that would take precedence. But this is like a little 5-hour thing that I can knock out in a few days.
Still going to be a longer game than what Guilty Gear will be for you.
Dude, I've been playing so much Guilty Gear.
Yeah. Let me jump into my part now, which is definitely more considered than Bobby's.
I considered it all right.
So I too played Dragon Ball Fighters. I too have similar itches to Johnny of like, fighting games are pretty fun. I would say I probably get those urges slightly more than Johnny, but they're around the same stuff. I've watched a lot of Evos. I like watching fighting game tournaments. It's really fun to watch people play. I would say something like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is where I really got into fighting games for sure.
Yeah.
And I fall in the same problems that Johnny has, which is, once you get in that itch, like, oh yeah, Dragon Ball Fighters is really cool. We like Dragon Ball. We like the craziness of it. It's made by Arc System Works. It looks great. Sure, let's jump in. And it's fun for a bit. And then our options are play the arcade campaign thing again. Okay, you can only play that so many times before whatever.
Yep.
And then what do? Do you play exhibition matches against the computer, which you end up being better than at some point? Or do you go online where people immediately skunk you because there's no way that you're as good as these people who play because those people are fucking monsters? And then it's just time to put the game down. And I've had that loop with every single fighting game I've played. Except for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and that was because I had a group of friends in college who were on relatively equal skill level as me, and we were able to play that game most weekends and have a great time, and that was great. Like, I could pick my Akuma, Super Skrull, whoever my third one was, and then they could pick their teams, and we could go in and we could do our matches, and we started to learn each other, and that was really fun. That was what fighting games were.
Yeah.
But we don't have that. Johnny, I think we played Dragon Ball Fighters once online against each other.
The online lobby system was not.
Yeah, that part wasn't great. But then, there's like a skill gap too. Like one of us ended up being better than the other one.
Oh yeah,
great. I didn't say who.
You don't have to.
And it's like, well, are we really going to commit the time to be playing each other week after week after week on this? Probably not. And so it just falls by the wayside. And even though I have every DLC character that Dragon Ball Fighters has made, I've got those season passes. It's like, oh, sweet, Vidal's in the game. I love Vidal. Vidal would be so cool. I've been asking for a lot. And then it's like, but am I going to load up that game and play as Vidal? No, probably not. Like, it's cool that she's in there. Cooler. Oh, I love Cooler. Cool. That movie. Yeah, blah. Nah, I'm okay. I don't need to play as Cooler.
I look at this the same. Like, am I going to play Ratchet and Clank again when I'm done after like 15 hours? Fair. No, probably not. Am I going to get 10, 15 hours of enjoyment out of this? Yeah, probably. And like that's how I look at it. I play most games between 10 and 20 hours. Like unless it's a long story driven RPG, and even then a lot of times I do not finish that game.
Yeah, that's about the same. Yeah, it's like Xenoblade Chronicles. You played about 10 hours.
Got you for 10 hours.
I'm never going to finish that game.
I've got you for 10 hours.
But back to the game itself.
Yes.
So
I've never played a Guilty Gear game before. I think I might confuse them with King of Fighters games in that I've heard that they have like really punishing windows, like windows to do attacks. Like it's very precise in the attacks, in the timing that you have to pull off for a lot of cool stuff. I think this game has bursts where you can like burst out of combos if somebody's got you.
It has a burst meter that refills up over time, so you have to be careful. Like, I really want to use this right now. It has stage breaks, so if you hit someone against the wall enough times, eventually it will break and go to another screen. It has cancels for your moves. You can remap the buttons, which one of the first things I did on the recommendation of this YouTube channel I watched was to map the dash to a button. So L2 is my dash, which makes going backs, or if I hit up and hit dash, and then I quickly like it just lets you navigate the stage a lot quicker. And the thing that I'm really liking is like the onboarding for it. Like there's a tutorial that you can go through, but then they also have like between 1 and 5-star other tutorials after that. And it just tells you like, hey, this is how you block. This is how you do this. And then eventually like it gets more and more advanced as you learn about the game. It's been very easy for me to pick up and do cool shit like just by looking at the move list and like, oh, my meter's full. I'm going to try this move and it looks amazing and like I'm having a really good time while I'm playing it. And I know obviously I am bad at this game, but I'm still able to pull off some pretty sick moves against like playing an arcade mode.
This is also made by Arc System Works, right? It is,
yeah. So, and another thing I really appreciate is on the character select screen, every character has their own star rating. So between 1 and 5 stars, 5 being the easiest to pick up and play with, 1 being the most difficult. There's only one 1-star character. There's a handful of 2-star, handful of 3, and then there's only one 5-star character, and that's the main character, Soul Bad Guy. I've been playing with him, Kai, and Chaz, I think, is like a ninja. And then there's a girl named May who has who uses an anchor for a weapon, and she can also summon dolphins and other marine life for her special moves and stuff.
Guilty Gear is the one that is somewhat based around like music, right? Like it's got a lot of characters that are.
That's
there,
not one. No.
There is a character named Ino who has a guitar that she uses as a weapon.
Yeah,
she's really cool.
No,
I think Bobby's right.
It's
a different one.
It was just on an alpha. They had like a tech demo for a weekend where you could check that one out. But no, I know what you're talking about. That's not Guilty Gear.
I'm gonna look it up.
I'll
figure it out.
Yeah, and I don't need to dwell on this too much longer, but it's really cool. Like Chase, I think that you would really enjoy this game, even if you just get that single player experience out of it. I have played 3 games online against people, and I've managed. I've won 3 rounds collectively, but I've lost the 2 out of 3 each time. But like I was able to beat someone basically every time I played against them. So that's not too discouraging. I'm also thinking like I don't know. Like if I could find a way to play against other people who weren't randos, that won't care if they're playing against a total scrub like me, I might do that. Yeah. But right now I'm happy just with the arcade mode. There's a challenge mode. I'm still going through some of the tutorials. I'm still also just picking out who I want to try and get okay at the game with. So I've still just been testing out different characters, and they all play so different, and they all have such unique move sets. But the combos and the things you're inputting on the D-pad are across the board almost all the same. And that is very helpful whenever you're playing with a new character. So I know if I hit like down right or down left triangle with one character, it will probably do something for another character as well. So I am having a really good time with it. I played a little bit with Jude. He thought it looked neat. Yeah, it's a really fun fighting game.
Great. That's wonderful.
I'm never going to find this fighting game franchise that I'm talking about.
Just search for fighting game weekend beta, because that's something that happened recently. Okay. Hey, gentlemen, I have a proposition. we've talked a lot about games. We're hitting the 2-hour mark. I think we can say congratulations to Sonic for 30 years, and we can say happy birthday to Nintendo, and we can maybe bypass the news tonight.
It's happy birthday to the Nintendo 64.
Yes.
I'm fine with that.
Is that okay?
I suppose. Was there any news story that we specifically needed to talk about?
Cyberpunk can be bought on PlayStation again.
Did they actually do anything, or did they just convince Sony to sell it again?
There is a new patch out.
No, Sony was like, you should not play this shit on a PlayStation 4. You should be on a PS4 Pro or PS5.
You can no longer request for a refund through Microsoft.
Yeah. There's a Gundam game being developed for esports that I wanted to talk about, but
I'm okay.
Yeah, so that's the news.
Yeah, sorry, we just had a lot to get through tonight. Traditionally, like, we would not have this length of time between the moments we can talk about the games that we've been playing, and Johnny's played at least 2 contenders for Game of the Year, it sounds like, so I wanted to give him a chance to talk about them with Chivalry and with Guilty Gear. But no, it was fun. It was really good to catch up with you two, and it was great to hear about some of these games. We had a few folks hanging out in chat tonight with us that we really appreciated their support. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the rest of the week and happening. So Chase and I have mentioned a few times some of the quick looks for the next fest for Steam. We have Toem going up tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central on our YouTube channel. Friday night, I'm really excited. We are all 3 going to be playing on stream Mario Golf Super Rush, and that's going to be a ton of fun.
Be a good time.
That unlocks, I think, tomorrow night. Or is it tonight? Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
It'd be it's after midnight, so it would be tonight probably.
Well,
at 11.
Yeah. Fair, Johnny. That sounds like a real Guilty Gear move. So Monday we were gonna play XCOM Chimera Squad for the Casual Monday stream, but we ended up going through and had a really good time covering a lot of the Next Fest demos that we didn't do quick looks for. So head back to our videos on demand. You can check that out if you want to get caught up on those. But this Monday we might fire up Chimera Squad. I'm going to talk with Chase offline and see if there's anything else that we need to look at. But yeah, that's going to do it for us here on our schedule. If you want to follow along with what we have going on, you can do so by following those links in chat. Chase.
Yeah.
What do you...
I want to know the name of this goddamn fighting game.
I'll take over. I'll take that over.
Okay.
You start talking about Gamers on the Go and Super Robot Wars.
If I must. Yeah, gamersonthego.com. We talk about handheld video games. I bring on a guest every time. Last episode was with friend of the show, Pierce Corshane. We talked about her story, which was awesome, and I really enjoyed that. That episode is up now. And then Bobby and I are going to be doing an episode at some point soon. It depends on how fast we can finish a game, and then also I got to do a little bit more research for it, but that should be coming relatively soon, maybe in the handful of weeks coming up. So that's cool. And then, like I mentioned during the podcast, I am also playing through Super Robot Wars X on my YouTube channel and having a really fun time doing that. I am 18 scenarios in, although how many have gone out? It would have been one. There's a new episode out right now, because they come out at the same time as the podcast. So let's see. Part... I don't know what part's up. But yeah, there's new episodes coming out every Wednesday and every Saturday. It's part 17. Part 17's out right now. That was scenario 13. I've recorded up to scenario 18, and you know that has 50 plus scenarios in it. So it's going to take me a lot longer to finish that game. I've been talking with Johnny. I think I'm going to get him on as a guest at some point relatively soon. I'm excited about that. Good stuff all around. Good, fun playing video games on the internet.
Exciting things to come for Chase.
Yes. Did you
Uh,
not find the name of the game?
I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to.
Yes?
I'm trying to find
Okay.
Jason on Twitter. I think that he had it on there. Johnny, while I'm still continuing this, what's going on with you and Jude?
Yes.
What are you and Jude doing?
Like he started Ratchet, like I mentioned. Haven't been playing a ton of stuff together recently. We played some Spelunky last week. Picked that back up. That was a lot of fun.
Somebody made a Spelunky roguelike recently. Like they made a mod for Spelunky 2 that turns it into a roguelike.
Okay.
Or not, no, sorry, it is a roguelike. They turned it into a battle royale. They called it Spelunky 99. That's what it was.
Okay. I would play that.
Yeah, I don't know where that is, but I remember hearing about it and it sounded interesting.
Was it the them fighting herds or something like that he was talking about a game of the year that had?
Wait.
That's the Brony one.
Yeah.
No, okay. Let me put this out there for Chase really quick. Damn, I they talked about it on Giant Bomb. I know they talked about it at length on Giant Bomb.
I don't think we're talking about the same game.
Okay. Damn it. We will try and figure this out. But everybody, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. You can find this episode live Friday morning on any platform podcasts live. Go check out our YouTube page and check out some of those quick looks. And we'll be back Friday night with some Mario Golf and maybe a gin and tonic or two, I'm thinking, on Friday night. So that will be a good time. Find us live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10:30 p.m. Twitch.tv/The Casual Hour. Johnny and Chase, as always, it's great to see both of you. Thanks everybody in Chatland, and we will talk to you all soon.